Good evening, team. Welcome back to Glenn's workshop. Today we're going to just get underneath the bonnet of well, this one here is a Mitsubishi Triton 2016. What we're going to go through is just a few of the easier maintenance things that everybody should pretty much know about their vehicle. At least then it's one thing that you don't have to take to the mechanic. The very first thing that we might go through is the most easiest one, which is the windscreen washer bottle. Now normally this reservoir is either on the left hand side or the right hand side of the vehicle, and all that this one here holds is water and the some form of windscreen or water additive to help clean the window. So all you have to do with this one here is just pull the cap. This particular one has got a really long like dipstick to see how far down it is, but you can tell that's kind of where it's sitting at the moment, where the water is actually covering over the end area. So all that you need to do is just undo it, and then while we're here I might as well do my one as well because it's pretty bad. So literally all I do is with the additive, there's no such thing as you add a certain amount per water. I think it's silly, but always add quite a fair bit amount. I normally go about quarter of a bottle per tank, and then fill the rest of it up with water. On this truck, for some reason, it takes a hell of a lot of water in this one here. When I fill it up, it'll last easily a good at least a fair few months. So just keep filling it up until the water gets to the top, or until you can actually see it on that dipstick. Well, for this model anyway, you can see it on the dipstick. We're pretty close to the top there, so I'll just stop there. And then always make sure that you always put the lid on tight. Give it a clean up while we're there. Right, so that's the windscreen bottle. Is as simple as that there. Now, the next one that I always look at when I look underneath the bonnet is something that you can top up yourself and everything, and that's just the, in this particular case, is right next to it, which is the power steering fluid. There's normally just a little scale on the side there, and that normally tells you where it's full or minimum. So in this case it's sitting right on the full mark, so we'll just leave that one there. But I don't encourage people to do much with that one there, because you can put the wrong fluid in and then you could be in a little bit of trouble. But it is always nice just to have a look at it and just make sure that there is fluid in there, and if it's not, then maybe pop it into your mechanic to have a bit of a top up. Now another good one is when you're looking at your battery, always have a look at the terminals. So over the years, a car you can actually get a lot of corrosion on your terminals. So this one is a 2016, so it's 6 years old, but it hasn't got any corrosion or anything over any of the terminals yet, so it's actually really quite tidy. But if you do find anything that is on the terminals, the best way to get rid of it is to boil some water in the jug, and then tip the boiling water. Just don't pour it over the battery, but just kind of dribble it over the corrosion area, and you'll see that it literally just dissolves with the hot water. But in this case, this one's pretty good, so we won't have to worry about that there. Now the next one too that I always look at is the water in the radiator. So they used to have a lot of overflow tanks that were really nice and easy to look at, but over the years they're more starting to tuck them away a little bit more, so it's getting harder and harder to actually look at them from just the top anyway. But only do this one here when the vehicle's cold. So never ever release your radiator cap when the engine's just been running or when the motor's hot, because it builds up so much pressure inside of it that when you do release the cap, it will literally blow up like a fountain. So just be really careful. Never ever undo it when the radiator's hot. But in this case, because the truck's cold, I know that you can just undo it. So when you do look down inside of it, as you can see, the water level is right at the top, so we know that there's heaps of water inside of there. Now anytime you take anything off under the hood, always make sure that you put it on tight, especially the radiator. As I say, it's once it does heat up and everything, it is under a lot of pressure, and it has to be that way. So if it is loose or anything, then it won't cause any damage, but you might lose a bit of water and it won't function as it's meant to. So always replace it as you found it. So if you loosen it, always tighten it up afterwards. So if you do find yourself needing some water to top it up with, distilled water is the best. And most cars these days have coolant in them as well, so you can literally just top up with water if you're in a pickle or anything, and then that's all most people have at home. Not very many people have coolant and everything in their garage at home, so if it does need a top up, you can just top it up with water. It's better for it to be topped up with water than be running low with nothing, so always give it a top up with water. The next thing that I always have a quick little look at is this one over here is the brake booster. It is always on the back part of the firewall. It's always got a big round cylinder with the reservoir white up front. So these ones are very easy to tell as well, so you can tell it's got the max sign on the side of it, and you just always make sure that there's always fluid up to those points anyway. But with the fluid now, they've kind of changed it. It used to be almost like a green type color, but now it's pretty much clear. So as you can tell inside of there, it is actually clear. So sometimes you can't tell from the side of it, so just pop the lid off and look down inside and just make sure that there is fluid right to the top. So this one's it's a little bit different, just like the power steering fluid. There is a different fluid that needs to go into it. Everything is all on top about what type of fluid and everything that you need, but you just don't want to overfill it. So you just got to be very careful with not overfilling them. So better to just inspect it, look at it. If it's good, then just stay far away from it. If it does need topping up though, and you're not too keen on buying the special type of fluid, which is normally .3 or .4 brake fluid, then just take it to your mechanic and get him to top up the level a little bit. And once again, if you undo it, make sure you tighten it back up again. So this one over here is the coolant tank for the radiator. This one here can be put anywhere in the vehicle as well, but in this case it's on the driver's side. It's quite a simple one to actually undo, as you can tell. In this one here, it is just a cap that you lift off. Now on some of them, they have full marks and some of them don't have full marks. A lot of the time they do have full marks, and this one here, it's just right down there. I'm not sure whether you can actually see those lines there or not, but that is actually, it's actually got F and L, so full and low. So if you are filling it up, just make sure you have got the coolant fluid. So that's the most important one, is that you're putting the right fluids into the right reservoirs, and just fill it up to that line, or that full line down there, and then make sure you replace the cap nice and tight. So once again, when you're doing the radiator side of it, always top this one up with the coolant, and then over here with the radiator, always top the water up with this one here. At least then when the radiator needs it, it'll replace the water from the radiator through into the coolant, and then it'll take the coolant out and run it through the radiator. It actually works in just one big go. Now that's pretty much all the fluids that you just look around and look for anyway. Now the most important one is of course the oil for the vehicle. In this instance, in this vehicle, there's no big shrouds or anything, where with a lot of the new cars now, there's big shrouds that almost cover up most of the bonnet now. The thing to look for on a lot of them to find the actual oil dipstick is the yellow. So they'll mark a lot of the stuff with yellow, so then it sticks out. So people only normally know that if it's got yellow on it, or a deep orange, then that's the one that you can inspect and have a look at. In this case here, because there's no big shrouds or anything, it's got one shroud over the motor, but that's about it. But my one in this particular one is actually, so you got the middle of the motor, and my one's just literally to the right hand side of it, so it's just that one there. So in my case, we've just got a little yellow dot, and that's how you know that well, for this one here, that's how you know that that one there's for the motor. So what you need to do is you just pop it out. Now you can never really tell on the first pull of it, so what you got to do, you've always got to wipe it over first. So what we'll do, we'll just always grab a rag and then just give it a wipe over, and once you've got it all nice and clean, then pop it back in. Pop it in, and I don't leave it in there for too long. So what I do is I just put it in there for a second or so, so push it all the way down and in. And I never hold it in there for too long. So, and then once I pull it out, then you should be able to get quite a good read on it. So in this case, it's not too bad. It could do with a little bit of a top up. So I'll actually top it up. Now, if I have some in the shed. So what we might do though is we might just give it one more wipe off, and always check it 2 or 3 times, because sometimes even if it rubs up against the side of the side of the pipe going down, it can give you a misreading as well. So do it a couple of times, few times. There's no harm in doing it a couple or a few. So in this case, it's exactly the same as where it was the first time. So if you get 2 of the same reads, then you know that it's pretty correct on that. So when it comes to oil, a lot of people say that the dirtier it looks, the worse it is. But I know for a fact that we only got this one done no more than about 4 months ago now. So but we don't do too many Ks in it. So even the black fuel sometimes isn't, black oil isn't too bad. It's just when they do the oil in the car or in the vehicle, they can't clean out everything. So once the new oil goes in, it just mixes with all the old stuff around the inside of the motor, and it makes it dark anyway. So even if we did the oil yesterday, after today's drive, the oil would probably be darker anyway. So you can't always tell how well a car's been serviced by how dark the oil is. Like some's real bad, you can even rub your fingers in it and sometimes you feel grit. And if you feel grit, then you know that it hasn't been done for a very, very long time. But I'll just see if I've got any oil there, and I'll give you a quick show on how to fill it up. So that'll be a no on the oil. But I always, depending on how low it is, I never put a lot in at a time, because the last thing you want to do is overfill the oil and then have to try and take it back out again. So especially when you're looking at the dipstick, it's hard to tell how much is needed to be put in to fill it up. So to be safe when you're doing it for the first time, second or even third time, always only do little bits at once. Pour it in, pull it out, have a look, and then once you've done it for a while, then you can kind of determine how much it needs when you have a look, or how low the dipstick, the oil level is on the dipstick. But just very, very slowly pour it in, and little bit, check it, little bit, check it. Right, so every vehicle has it right on top of the motor. So some people say they get confused between the oil and the water, but the oil is always on top of the motor, because it's got to go directly from there straight down through the motor and into the oil pan at the bottom. So if you're ever doing the oil, it's the one right on top of the motor. If you're doing the radiator, it's the one that's in front of the vehicle. 99% of the time, it's got a metal cap, where the oil will always, on the newer cars anyway, will always have the plastic cap. And once again, if you've undone it, then make sure you do it up tight. So always try and use a funnel as well when you are actually topping it up. At least then you're not going to get any oil down the side of the motor or running down underneath things, because if it does start running down under it, then if it gets on any hot surfaces, you will start seeing a bit of smoke coming up. But always use a funnel when you can, or when you have to, at least then it's a bit tidier as well. So the last thing is, if you really want to start getting it a bit adventurous with the under the bonnet side of the vehicle, is the air cleaner. So the air cleaner's always a big plastic box running off to, it can be either side, left or right, of the motor. Most of the time though, if you've got the battery over one side, then 99% of the time the air cleaner box is on the opposite side to the battery. So a lot of them now have a lot of these clips, these little ones here, and all you need to do is just push on the top part of it and then just move it away from the box itself. So they're not hard to get undone. They never are. They never jam or clog or anything, so they are very, very easy to do. Then all you do is you just lift the box completely up, and there's your air cleaner. So I know for a fact that this one was cleaned a little while ago, Most of the time you can't do too much cleaning with them. They are normally just a throwaway job and put another one in, but for many years I've actually just run through with a air compressor and just blow the dirt out of them. But you can't do it forever, so you've got to get a new one eventually. A lot of these paper ones, they are really good though, so the motors are pretty clean these days, so you don't have to worry too much about them. But if you find that there's critters and spider webs and everything inside of them, or dirt, or even if they get wet, that's the worst, because if they get wet, then the water will gather dust and then it'll start clogging the air filter up. So once you've actually got it away, then it's as simple as just lifting it up. See, so they're not too bad. You'll always get stuff inside of it, because it's coming up from in front or at the side of your vehicle straight into this filter box. There'll always be something, but you'll know when one's clogged, because it is, as soon as you touch it, you'll see the dust starting to lift from it. But this one here is actually really not too bad. And as I say, if you're worried about it, or if it's looking bad, or if it's got wet, then definitely get it replaced. It's always safer for your car, better for your car to have a new one in there than it be faulty, or trying for the car to suck fresh air through a filter that's got dust or muck or dirt. Right, so the main thing with these ones here is that you just get your clips all in the right place. So you got a couple of, I'm not sure whether you can see it down there, these pieces here, they just clip into place. As soon as you've got them in place, then what you do is on the side, it's got a little bit of a lump, and you just push the lump, and then that'll push the top of it up to clip back onto the gearbox. Make sure, give it a bit of a wiggle, make sure that it's all sitting in there properly. Now, once you have finished all your top-ups and you've topped up everything you want to, and you're happy with all the levels and everything, do just go around one more time and give everything a twist. All of the ones that you did move, take off, or loosen to look inside of, make sure that you've gone in there and you have actually clipped everything back into place again. Because as I say, the last thing you want to happen is your fluids or your levels or everything to come out again while you're underway. But I think that's pretty much about it. So that's pretty much all your levels you can do. So your water, your oil, if you want to get adventurous, as I say, the power steering, or you've got your booster for your brakes, coolant, airbox, radiator, battery. A lot of the times with batteries too, sorry, just a quick note, this one doesn't seem to have one, which I was quite surprised about, but a lot of the time now they'll have a little inspection piece that you can actually look down inside of, and if your battery's good and running correctly, then you can see it green. So there's a little green, it's not really, I suppose it looks like a light, but it's not a light, but it's it'll show green, and then you know that your battery's okay. But if you do find, or if you do look in there from time to time and do start seeing that green is starting to fade or dull, then that's when your battery is going to fail. So try and get it replaced as soon as you can, at least then you're not having to jump start the car at inconvenient times or anything. But I think that's about it. If you of course have any questions about anything that we've gone through, just leave a comment down below and I will answer it. So that's about it. I hope everybody's learned something, and happy motoring. Like, subscribe, comment, and hit that bell button for the next video. Alrighty, Night, guys. Okay, so sorry, just a little bit of an extension. So this is a 2021 the PHEV Outlander. So just to give you guys a bit of an idea, even for a brand new one, everything is still laid out pretty much exactly where it was on the older models. So even the newer ones now are almost identical to the older ones. So you got your coolant, you got your radiator. Apart from this little one here, so this must be the coolant one again. So the overflow. So that's where everything goes when it actually cycles through. But then you got your washer bottle, your air cleaner box on top. The biggest difference is with this one here is because there's something different in the way. So this one here is the actual electric motor. So this electric one here, unfortunately, this is where it stops for me. So the electrics is a little bit more of a difficult one. At the moment, just take it to the dealer. They are the only ones that I think can mess around with any of this stuff at the moment. But yeah, the electric side of it can just stay where it is. For the petrol though, right down inside of there, right on top of the motor, where it is on every vehicle, is your filler for your oil. See, so even going from the 2016 to the 2021, they've still got a lot of things open for us to get into and have a look at. Now, I'll see if I can find the dipstick, because I think, oh okay, so with this one here, it's not yellow anymore, but they have got it marked engine. So at least everybody knows that that's the one that you need to pull out and have a look and see what the level's at. But yeah, anyway, just thought I was checking the washer bottle on the other car, and I just thought I'd show you the difference between the 16 and the 2021. But anyway, night guys, thank you. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, and smash that bell button. Cheers.